All right, today we're building a toolkit, but not with hammers and wrenches. We're talking about ancient wisdom that's, believe it or not, perfectly designed for our crazy modern world. Yep, we're diving into Stoicism, this super practical philosophy for becoming, well, totally unshakable. So let's get right into it.
You know that feeling, right? Like you're just treading water, trying to stay afloat in this sea of stress and just constant uncertainty. You got notifications dinging all the time, pressure from work, drama with people. It honestly feels like a storm you just can't get out of.
Okay, but what if? What if there was a way to find your calm right in the eye of that storm? Well, that's pretty much the core promise of Stoicism. It's not about making all your problems magically disappear, because let's be real, that's not happening. It's about building this inner fortress, this place inside you so that all that chaos on the outside can't touch your peace of mind.
So there it is, the modern storm. And our guide for navigating it? This ancient philosophy that has, seriously, helped people for thousands of years. It's time-tested. All right, let's start putting together our toolkit, one piece at a time.
First up, we've got what I like to call your inner compass. This thing is all about mastering your internal world. It's about figuring out your direction, your true north, and, this is just as crucial, learning how to protect and guard your own mind. I love this quote from the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. He had this amazing perspective. He saw challenges not as punishments, but as tests, as opportunities. So a tough situation, it's not there to break you. It's there to show you the strength you already have inside. So the big question is, right, how do you build that strength? Well, it all starts with what we'll call a firm purpose. Think about it. If you set sail on the ocean with no map, no destination, you just get tossed around by every single wave, right? Aimless. A firm purpose, that's your destination. That's your why. It's something you build by really thinking about what you value, and it becomes the anchor that holds you steady when the winds of life start howling. Okay, so once that anchor is down, you can really start guarding your mind. How? Well, first, you set clear boundaries. You decide what negativity you're just not going to let in. Simple as that. Second, you practice mindfulness. This creates that little bit of space, that pause, between something happening and you reacting. And third, you use that space to choose how you're going to respond instead of just letting your impulses run the show.
All right, so we've got our compass pointing us in the right direction. Now let's forge the next tool in our kit, the resilient shield. This is for all the stuff the world throws at you. Harsh words, unexpected problems, you name it. And here's another absolute gem from Epictetus. This might be the single most famous idea in all of Stoicism, and honestly, for a very good reason. The idea is this: the thing that happens, it's neutral. It just is. All of our power, all of our freedom is in how we decide to react to it.
And this is a perfect example of what that looks like in real life. Let's take criticism. A reactive response? You immediately get defensive, take it personally, maybe lash out. It stings. But the Stoic response? You pause, you reflect, you ask yourself, okay, wait a second, is there a lesson here? Is there any truth to this? You separate your own self-worth from what they said and choose to respond calmly. And let me tell you, that's not weakness. That is some serious strength.
So how do you actually do that? Well, when you feel that sting of offense, first, don't pretend it's not there. Acknowledge the feeling, but don't let it control you. Then try to reframe it. Ask, what can I learn here? And try to practice a little empathy. Think about why they might have said that. Not to make excuses for them, but just to understand. And finally, and this is huge, you forgive. And you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you. Because holding on to a grudge is, like the old saying goes, like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to get sick.
Another really cool part of this shield is preparation. The Stoics had this practice called premeditation of evils. I know, it sounds super grim, right? But it's not about being a pessimist, it's about being a realist. So let's say you've got a big presentation coming up. You think, okay, what could go wrong? Well, the projector might fail, so you bring a backup printed copy. What if someone in the audience is hostile? You prepare a calm, logical response ahead of time. See, by thinking through the obstacles, you're not expecting the worst. You're getting ready for anything. You're prepared.
Okay, so we've got our compass to guide us and our shield to protect us. The last piece of the toolkit is what we'll call the path to peace. This is the big picture mindset that kind of holds everything else together.
And the absolute foundation of this path is acceptance. Now, this word gets misunderstood all the time. Stoic acceptance is not about just giving up and saying, oh well, not at all. It's a strategic move. It's about looking at a situation and clearly seeing what you can't control so you can stop wasting your precious energy fighting it and instead Focus all of that power on the things you actually can control.
And this also means accepting the natural rhythm of life. Just like we have spring, summer, fall, winter, our own lives have these cycles. There are times of growth, times of stability, times of decline, and then renewal. Fighting against that is like fighting against winter itself. It's pointless. But accepting it, that's how you find grace and meaning in every single part of the journey. The Stoics had a phrase for this: living according to nature. And no, they didn't mean you had to go live in a log cabin. They meant living in line with our best human nature, our ability to use reason, to be good to each other. It really just means being your best self, cultivating things like wisdom and courage, helping out your community, and finding joy in simple things, and being grateful for what you have.
So, let's bring it all home. Mastering your inner world, it's not some big mystery. It's really just about having the right tools in your toolkit and, of course, knowing how and when to use them.
So here it is in a nutshell. Your Stoic toolkit. You've got the compass, your firm purpose to give you direction. You've got the shield of resilience to handle whatever life throws at you. And you've got the path of acceptance, which helps you find peace no matter what.
Look, the world out there is always going to be chaotic. It's always going to be a bit of a storm. That's a fact, and it's something we just can't control. But with these tools, your inner world can be a fortress of calm, a source of real strength. So the real question, the only question that matters, is, will you?